The Court of Public Opinion is a part of the Amateur Radio Network. Okay, so this news about Anthony Weiner, who's trying to make a deal with the FBI about a lesser charge, or I believe he's trying to get off on child pornography charges. We're going to tell you, quite frankly, there's a lot here going on, okay? Obviously, you got hundreds of cases of incident after incident, and that's the stuff that's been out publicly, okay? You turn on CNN, you have an audience. We're going to really go into this. Please understand, I'm pretty passionate right now after listening to this for the last couple hours. This just kind of just stir you up. So I'm just going to lay it out like this. Looking at these images, knowing this is on C-SPAN, they have an audience. It's up to the community, people who watch TV, subscribe, call your cable company, ask what's going on. Start just asking anybody. Ask what they're doing about something like this. Find out from your community action. They have all kinds of other programs, proactive, ask questions. Here's the thing. This goes on right in front of the public. And we're supposed to just look the other way. I don't think anybody in their right mind, that I know of, at least in my sphere of influence, is going to do that. And nor are you all. And if you're watching this video, you're going to see these are just screenshots I found from Stranger Than Fiction News. This was on C-SPAN, by the way. That's not fake news, right? So as far as I'm concerned, we can make the clarification that this is not on C-SPAN. This was on C-SPAN. Apologize. I better slow down. I got to breathe. Okay, I'm looking at this little girl, and I'm looking at Jeff Sessions, and if you see the whole video, you'll see that Jeff Sessions obviously was trying to push Joe Biden away. That's your vice president. I mean, come on. I mean, this is an audience. Are they doing it on purpose? Are they, because look, you got plenty of people who have ever been abused or ever had something uncomfortable like this happen. This is going to raise all kinds of concerns for somebody that has children. I mean, there are several problems with this. Okay, so we're not going to go down that road. What we need to do and what we need to see happen is that our representatives and our senators get together with the community. They're going to need the support. There are people that are decent down in Washington, D.C. that have children, and they're probably very guarded after something like this. So think of this. Consider this. These are secondary victims. Think about the families that witnessed this, and they don't know what to do. They're probably, either in shock, they're upset right now. So I need you guys to consider this when you're going down to a protest or something like that, or going to a march. Support the people that are trying to do something, or at least encourage them. This will help bring cohesion to this group. I can't see how this is a bad thing. I'm concerned for many reasons, and not just because of what I'm addressing, but this is on live TV. And if you are reacting the way most people that I know have reacted, they're responding differently. They're upset. They're uncomfortable. Really, this has brought out the worst in a lot of people. But what's going to happen is if we can get people to, first of all, think along these terms, the best way to watch, see how this goes, okay? There is a process. There's a court process. They have to first, of course, go through initial procedures and things like that. They don't just charge people unless they have evidence. Now you have something of real importance. And at the very end, they're probably going to make a deal or something. I don't know how these things work out when it comes to somebody at this level. Okay, but this is considered high crimes and treason. You can't sit there and assault people in front of everybody in the public and the public not respond. And this goes to like other things. There's therapy. Consider this. I'm going to go into a laundry list of things that you can do and get resourceful. For some of you, this is important. We're going to go into more. The Court of Public Opinion is a part of the Amateur Radio Network. This is kind of how it is here at the Court of Public Opinion. We need to take that moment just to chill out. I can't talk about this topic without talking about solutions and answers. Of course, we're going to talk more on topics like this in the future, of course. So we do touch on a variety of topics, but this mainly because of the reaction, the public reaction, and many people need to know what resources are out there. First of all, as a secondary support, you have to have a support system or something outside of maybe family, or maybe something of like group therapy. A lot of people seek that kind of recovery in group. That kind of encouragement, that kind of support is so important right now. There are just so many victims and survivors. Without it, I just think it's not right. Okay, I'm going to talk about some other therapeutic tools that are being very useful, and they have this is the frequency you need to be on. So if you go on a YouTube page and you look for that kind of frequency, they have different sound therapy for people with PTSD. These are recovery methods I have been implementing into the program with Erica's House. See, what we have realized is that because the coping mechanisms and some of the things that people have not been able to apply to, there are things you can do right at the leisure of your home. If you have children who are having breathing problems, sleep problems, just putting on this music at this frequency has had medicinal benefits. There are a lot of healing components to candles and certain lighting. You get the kids to calm down before they go to sleep. One other very important thing is you want to shut that TV off at least a couple hours into it. Their minds are going, it's called a decompress, but when kids have suffered this kind of trauma, there are things we can do. Drawing is another one. So by putting out a pad of paper, pen, you get them to calm them down. You know how amazing it is when we start drawing and sketching, and it helps your focus, it helps clarity of mind. This also is something I would practice on a regular basis before going to bed, especially if you have kids that are running around and then you try to get them to sleep. This way, if they're drawing at night, you shut the TV off because you have to turn their brains off before they go to sleep. And a lot of other methods where you can make sure you unplug the Wi-Fi. Make sure it's off, okay? Take the battery out of your phone. This is going to help your mind rest at night. A lot of people have their Wi-Fi on and all this electricity is moving and your brain does not go to sleep. So please consider these alternate therapies. These are the things that you have access to. If you don't have access to a computer, then look for people who know information on how do you order this CD. I would go to wholetoneslive.com. They actually have the healing components for people who have been through, like I said earlier, trauma, PTSD. This is all relevant to especially trauma-based therapy. When I talk about Erica's House, I'll explain why our trauma-based therapy method is done online for the purpose that you have access to these tools and methods and you can put them into application. The Court of Public Opinion is a part of the Amateur Radio Network. So I tried to implement something here and hopefully I help explain the stick figures because communication is really important, especially for people who've been abused. And I really emphasize peer support recovery, especially people who have know somebody or have been through something. That peer support is so important, encouraging each other to communicate and stick together in groups. These are just things that I think if we can help encourage young moms, young dads about keeping their friendships close together in the same age group, especially school age students, there's a tendency for one of those kids to wander off. And we've seen an epidemic of missing and abused and exploited children. So we're looking at child abuse prevention projects like this. Erica's House was developed in 2007. Erica was a master's in social work. She was a child abuse expert. She too was a child abuse survivor. Erica passed away in 2002. She was our case manager when we were kids. Erica went over and above and saved lives. It was just incredible the way she touched lives. So we couldn't just let Erica's goals die with her. She's still alive, is very much a part of this project. I mean, she's with us daily. And every time I think about what Erica has done and how she helped bring awareness to shaken baby syndrome, and now we just springboard from there. This Stick Together project is really a spinoff of things that they had worked together at PAC. As one of her clients, as she went alongside me and mentored me. She was a prolific ballerina for the Pittsburgh Ballet Company. And me as an inspiring dancer, I just connected with her on every level. So when I look at how kids are paired up with caseworkers, or they have relationships outside where they can feel safe and comfortable about trusting adults. And, they talk about home-based therapy, and you apply home-based therapy with drawing, music, art. That's why I was trying to illustrate why it's so important we illustrate music and drawing and dancing as a part of Erica's house. That's really what this is about. Thank you for listening. The Court of Public Opinion is a part of the Amateur Radio Network. For more information about our recovery project at Erica's house, look for all the additional links below in the description box. There are alternative therapies and art therapy and other tools that we'll add in and update as needed. Thank you.